What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into the CHGO Bulls Podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download their app. Be sure to use promo code CHGO when you sign up. I'm Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. Join with my guys here at our CHGO studios downtown Chicago. Big Dave, bow. BAWL Sports. Will, the GOAT Gottlieb. Will_Gottlieb is his handle. We are CHGO_Bulls. And today we are joined by our pal producer, Lawrence.
Hi, guys.
What's up, buddy?
I'm not going on camera. No, I'm not going on camera.
What?
No.
Not triple cameraing yourself today?
What's going on?
No,
Wait, are you planning something over there?
No, I feel bad. You know, you always say I like to be a narcissist, and I don't want to just.
But don't stop being who you are. There he is. Hey, can't help it.
Also,
be who you are in this world.
Displaying that dope-ass 98 hockey shirt available in the CHGO merch logger right now. One of our newest additions.
98C, baby.
Why didn't you see mine when I wore it? You didn't say anything.
Yeah, what's up with that?
You got one of those?
I wore it last week.
Come on.
Didn't
Come
say
on,
anything.
Pack.
See what I mean? But
He doesn't even get up when.
Yeah, he didn't get up for me or nothing like that. Can I applaud you
Never
real quick, Will,
understood.
on your ensemble? Because it's rare that you come in matching from the shoes and the shirt, sir. This is not a mistake about
It's
what's
not a
going
mistake.
on this man's ensemble right here.
Thanks, Dave.
This is very, very nice. I'm very, very
Thanks,
proud of you when
Dave.
I see you do
You
these
make me
things.
blush.
It's very nice. I'm digging it. It's real cool. I dig it, bro.
Well coiffed as always.
The quaff is never in question. It's always perfect. It's never in question.
Never
Ever.
question the
We
quaff.
don't question the quaff. You don't ask the question. You put a microphone to it. Nah. Get away from the quaff. No questions for the quaff. All right.
Packy, all right?
I'm great.
Okay.
I was just thinking the reason I never noticed your shirts, Dave, is because I'm just too captivated by your big, beautiful eyes.
Ooh, good save.
Oh.
That's
yeah.
a foul ball, though. Now, he tried.
It
You
was
know what
like
I mean?
3 minutes
We'll give him
later.
a foul tip.
Okay.
He foul tip. You know, he tried.
That just means I'm still alive. And
That's it.
that.
Still alive. You're still alive. You're still at the plate. You're still at the plate, man. Are you sad, though, that Burke Peck is about to go away? Or is Burke Heinrich is on his way out?
Excuse me?
Is on his way out?
It is August 8th, sir.
Yeah, but
I
it's
got
coming.
at least 2 more months.
2 more months of
Yes. Oh, I wear Burks well into October.
So you're like Burks, I am with shorts. Okay. So
The rule is when the first flurries fall,
Okay.
then I put the Burks away.
All right.
Which in Chicago, you might get flurries in early
That's what
October.
I'm
You never
saying.
know.
Like you don't know.
No. I will go to jeans and hoodie weather, jeans and hoodie attire for Chicago fall, which is a delightful season.
Yeah.
And still rock the Burks on the feet.
I'm very interested to see what comes first, like me putting on pants or him putting on shoes.
It's gonna be him putting on shoes.
Yeah, you got that right.
So, yeah.
Because
That's very true.
you said, what did you say when the pants come on and shorts go away? Like October, November? I
More
don't
like
think that's-
November.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
Yeah,
I think,
it's
I think
probably
it's
December,
more
to be
like
honest with you.
December and
Yeah.
January are your pants months.
November-y.
I think
November-ish.
it's December, January are your pants months.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
everything else is shorts.
I've
sounds
seen you
fair.
wear shorts in the dead of winter before.
This is true. Yeah, this is a fact. This is what I do, man.
But that's
what
still
I
a
wanna
ways
know-
away.
What I want to know is when's the mustache coming back?
Oh, great question.
Yeah.
Great. The people love the stash. People love Stash Peck.
Are the Bulls playing games right now?
They are not.
Vooch is.
Then the stash
Vooch
ain't
is
coming
playing?
back.
That's a segue.
I mean, Peck, you didn't even notice on the Chicago Sports Podcast where we did the movie draft, your little caricature had no mustache. I don't know if
I
you
did
noticed.
not notice that. Did you make that change?
Yeah, I made that last year, Summer Peck.
He said,
Oh.
Of course I did.
Yeah.
I like how you did that. Well,
I appreciate that.
kidding me.
It's accurate. I'll bring it back.
Preseason or regular season?
Usually when I take my my week sabbatical around Labor Day to hang out with the family, towards the end of summer, I will just not shave for a couple of weeks because I'm lazy and on vacation. And then that not shaving will turn into a modest beard of sorts.
A couple of weeks.
And then once we start gearing up for Bulls basketball somewhere in the first or second week of October, then I'll ditch the beard and keep a stash, and then it'll be back.
That's so impressive that happens in a couple of weeks. That's impressive to me, man.
Should we all shave on the same day and see after like a month how? Just,
Yes.
Not like a race or anything, because
Yeah.
it's not a race, but just to see what the progress report is.
No, it would be a competition. Matt's competitive. He's going to
Yeah,
compete.
that's true. That's true.
Like you put it, you say race, it's
I don't know
going
what
to be
you're
a
talking
thing.
about. I want to see. I want to see stashed goat. We haven't
Ooh,
seen
actually, I
stashed
do.
goat.
I do.
We've
I've
seen bearded goat, but no stashed
I've seen
goat.
the Bradley Cooper stubble goat. You know what I mean? But I haven't seen stash goat. He's right about that. That 5 o'clock shadow that he rolls in, Hangover 2 goat. Is what I see. I've seen that.
Hangover. Oh my God, it's August, ladies and gentlemen.
It is. Speaking of which, we got a
I'm
couple of
still
awesome
hilarious.
events coming up later in this month of August. CHGO Crosstown Series Takeover Part 2 at
Yeah.
Wrigley Field a week from tomorrow,
Part two.
Wednesday, August 16th. Tickets still available. Still a few of them left to the takeover. It gets you a game ticket and your choice, are you a Cubs fan or a Sox fan, of one of our CHGO Crosstown Classic shirts, north side or south side. Plus, there's going to be some pre-gaming going on in Wrigleyville before the game. Enjoy that. I think I'm going to go. You guys going to go?
I can't.
No?
I wanted to, but I can't.
I missed the first one down on the south side.
Yeah, I did. I tried to go to that one. That one was sold out by the time. It couldn't work out for me. So,
I missed the one on the south side, and I will not be attending this one either. I'm sorry, everybody. I know you want to see my face.
of course you do. Why isn't it on the screen?
Show-
right
yeah,
now?
show your
Yeah,
face
what are you
again.
talking about, dude? Of course we do. What do you mean?
Yeah, there's a chance I'll be in Indianapolis.
How dare you, Sam?
For
what?
Bears?
Yeah,
Bears
preseason?
Well, they're practicing
That's a
against the
flex.
Colts.
Right.
Is it?
yes, it is.
It's actually.
There's a chance I'll be in
I'll
Indianapolis.
be in
Wait a
Indianapolis.
I
you
may
know.
not be able to make it. I could be.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't think Indianapolis counts as a city that you flex about going to.
Yeah, but when you're doing it for
no
the
offense
Bears,
to all my Indiana family, but
when you're
Y'all
doing it
have
for the
been
Bears,
to Vegas twice and to Paris. Y'all went international. Was I invited to any of those? I was not. So
talk to Joey about
If
that.
I were
That
in
ain't got nothing to do
charge-
with us.
I would have invited you.
yeah, exactly.
Indianapolis is not.
Talk
a
to Joey.
flex.
Talk to Joey.
Talk to Joey.
Talk to Joey Perry about that one.
Joey Perry.
Joey Bordeaux.
Let me know how that
Bordeaux.
turns out.
Bordeaux.
Let me know how that turns out.
Joey
Joey
dropping
coming
stuff.
back.
Honestly, the countdown, I don't even know. That's
I
the
do.
problem.
We just found out in
Oh, you
there.
did?
It's gonna, so we'll talk. We'll talk after the
okay,
show.
giddy up.
But I just found out, so we'll talk.
Also, a little later on in August 25th, it's our CHGO Kickoff Classic
I'll be
at
there for
Cog
that.
Hill. Everybody's been working on their swings, on their golf game. August 25th, Friday morning, we're playing 18 holes. Everybody who signs up gets 18 holes and a golf cart, an exclusive CHGO and Pins and Aces golf towel to keep right there in your golf bag with your Pins and Aces beer sleeve.
Of course.
There's going to be hole contests, giveaways, prizes, lunch, drinks, and a ceremony after the round is complete. And if you're signing up as a CHGO diehard, you get a discount because, of course, you do.
Yeah.
One of the many perks of CHGO dieharddom.
I do real quick. I have questions about this. One, and maybe you can help me out, Will. What is it? A 9 a.m. shotgun?
I have no idea.
Okay,
You
Lawrence.
shotgun a beer at 9 a.m.
That's really where I
I
was
mean,
going.
you could do it that way, but a shotgun start in a golf tournament is when people start on every hole. Usually you would start on hole number one,
Right.
but since it's a large group of people, you send different groups out to the second hole, third, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So
Okay,
that is a shotgun start.
what is a holes contest?
I assume that means like, closest to the pin on the par 3
Ah,
or long
okay.
drive,
Okay.
yada, yada. Yeah.
Thank you for the clarity, sir. I sure was
yeah.
wondering.
I have
There you
no
go.
idea about any of that stuff.
He's just going to win. That's
Wait
all
a
Will
minute.
do.
Yeah, go. You're the
I'm not a
professional
golfer. I don't know why people keep saying this. I've golfed before.
Why do we keep saying this,
Many
man?
are saying.
Why do we keep saying this?
I made
Because
one
we
putt.
watched him sink one like 25-foot
single
putt when we were out in Vegas.
It was,
Made it to the final four.
a shot that changed my life.
I mean, honestly, between that putt and
Yeah.
the thirst trap, it's the only things I know about doing.
So all you
Walking
know.
off the-
Don't bring that up. It's a sensitive subject.
How dare you?
Will
sir.
didn't like it.
How dare
He
you,
shared
sir.
off his perfectly coiffed Vegas bod
How
at the
dare
pool.
you, sir?
Speaking of
walking
golf, though, we can change subjects, but back to
Please.
golf. I wanted to give a shout out. We had our pal Kendall Gill in studio with us a couple weeks ago. We were talking to him about not only his son Phoenix, who's
Yeah.
crushing it, St. Ignatius basketball,
Yeah.
getting offers left and right, but his younger son Coda,
Right.
a awesome golfer. I just saw
Aficionado.
on KG's Insta this morning that
KG?
Coda had his tryout for St. Ignatius's golf team yesterday and set a personal best round during his tryout.
Doing a
Made
tryout.
St. Ignatius's golf team as an incoming freshman.
Wow.
Shout out to Coda Gill.
Wow.
Good for you, buddy. Congrats,
Checks.
Kendall. Proud
Checks
papa.
And more checks.
Dude,
Hit the like
seriously.
for Kendall's
Hit the
son.
like for Kendall's son, man. For both of them. Give him 2 likes for that, man. That's amazing. Congratulations, man. How cool is that?
Just crushing that dad life right now.
I mean, man, just killing it. Do you see the other video of him boxing with his son? Boxing with Phoenix? And I was like, this dude is the man. Like, it's just awesome to be Kendall Gill, ladies and gentlemen.
Tireless.
Try it sometime.
Yeah. All right, some fun stuff to get to that's actually Bulls related on today's show. I wanted to touch on something that I saw. Shout out to Eli Schuster, does an amazing job. Every little bit and piece of Bulls news for Bleacher Nation Bulls. A bunch of pals of ours over there at Bleacher Nation. They do great stuff. He had an awesome breakdown of Vucevic's development of his three-point shot that I wanted to get to on the back half of today's show because it's very cool, and we all know how desperately we want more three-point shooting on this Bulls team. Before that, though, I wanted to touch on something that we found from BBall Index on Twitter, who do great things about very rare and fascinating NBA stats.
True.
The one that I stumbled upon the other day had to do with elite defensive play from NBA players when it comes to navigating screens. There were a handful of variables in this breakdown of theirs, both on and off ball screen navigation, and are you a point of attack defender or a wing stopper, and then further classified by number of
I'm
minutes
more of a
played.
B-dubs guy.
More of a who?
Thank you. I was saying, you didn't hear me say it on the low? Okay, my man. No, it was a wing
Honestly,
stopper.
I'm more of a Hooters guy.
Oh, wing stopper. Yeah, I got you. Or Hooters.
Hooters, yeah. Shout out to Hooters.
Shout out to our friends at Hooters.
Shout out.
So many a times when you see from BBall Index or NBA Math or NBA University, all of these awesome stat graph accounts about the NBA, if it's about defense in the NBA, you just look for Alex Caruso in the top right corner of the graph. And to no one's surprise, I don't know, Lawrence, if you have that graph.
I do. I'm just
that you can pull
here's
up.
the tweet, and then we can get back.
Yeah.
to
So
that,
there were the stipulations that I was talking about, all the different variables.
Here we go.
And they have to have played at least 1,000 minutes of this past season. There is Alex Caruso right up there near the top right of the screen. So basically, this entire grouping, if you'll notice. Bottom left of the chart is 0-0 on the x-axis of ball screen navigation, and then negative 0.5 at the bottom of the y-axis for off-ball chasing defense. So everybody in this chart, except for Grant Williams down there looking sad in the bottom left-hand corner,
Hey, Greg.
are net positive players when it comes to navigating ball screens on defense. There you see Caruso right up near the top, along with Dylan Brooks. But the interesting thing that I saw here is that 5 of Caruso's Bulls teammates are also here on this chart. Just below him, you see Ayo Dosunmu. A little below Ayo, you see new Bulls addition Javon Carter.
Shout out.
And shifting a little further back along the x-axis, you will also see Patrick Williams.
Hey.
And then right there near Patrick Williams is the other Bulls free agent addition of this offseason, Torrey Craig. 6 Bulls players on this chart as among the NBA's elite screen navigating defenders.
Yeah.
We know that the Bulls finished with the 5th best defensive rating in the NBA last season. We know that they returned basically the same roster, save Javonte and Derrick Jones Jr. departing, but they've added 2, most would agree, net positive defensive players in Torrey Craig and Javon Carter. So that begs the question, can the Bulls be even better defensively this upcoming season than they were last season?
Yes. Yes, they can. Absolutely, they can. Honestly, the defense excites me more than the three-point shooting because for me, the defense is more tangible because I can look at that and say, oh, one thing you're not going to lose is that. You're going to have that defense together. That's going to be right. Even on BBall Index also a couple days ago where they gave Javon Carter his own profile and they graded him. You know what I mean? It was showing his grades about what he had. His ball screen navigation was at A+. That's what it was. It was A+. His off-ball chaser defense was at A-. Like, I think the three-point shooting was at A- also.
It was.
But yeah, like the A+ though was exactly that. So you're putting an A+ defender out here along with other guys who are also either A's or A+ at that as well. How can you not be a better defense? The options this allows Billy Donovan is staggering. It's outstanding. Like it allows you to pick and choose exactly the lineup instead of just putting out matchups to match up with the other team. It's not about that no more. It's about, no, dude, who you gonna get by on my team? You know what I'm saying? Like, who you gonna get by on it? You gonna get by Caruso? Well, I got Javon waiting for you. You got him? Well, I got Pat waiting for you. You got him? Well, I got Ayo waiting for you. who are you going to get by? So it's going to be a nightmare for a lot of those guards also going up against this kind of Bulls team, man. And we've seen that these Bulls guards give the flux to some of these point guards out here in the NBA. And I think, honestly, Will, that's just going to continue.
I have such a hard time figuring out the Bulls defense, because if you look at last year, as we just mentioned, they were a top 5 defense, 111.5 defensive rating. That's tremendous. Year before, though, 113.2 defensive rating, 23rd in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, is the truth somewhere in the middle? Probably. But to your point, like, the quality of, I think, point of attack defenders and being able to get over screens, the guys that they can throw at virtually anybody they play against,
Mm-hmm.
it allows you to be a much more dynamic defense in a way that I don't think other teams can really accomplish. So you have, like, your traditional drop big. Rudy Gobert is kind of like the stereotype where you just kind of like let him drop back and funnel everything towards Rudy, and he'll either deter the shot or block the shot, or at least make it difficult for you to get something up. You have the 1 through 5 switching defenses like the 2016-17 Warriors, who would just switch every single ball screen. The Rockets during that time period, another good example. But you don't really see defenses that are built on the ability to get over screens. And I think that's what makes the Bulls so unique. It's also, I think, what makes them hard for me to really lock in on and truly understand how good they are. So I'm really curious to see how it looks next year. I think if you look at the shots that the Bulls give up and the percentage, the field goal percent on those shots is also really interesting. But certainly, like, if anybody is able to pull this off, you look at that chart and it's the Bulls, right?
Yeah,
like, they just have so many guys that can make life easy on Vooch, which is, I think, a huge deal.
Yeah.
Like, you hear all these podcasts, whether it's national or even some local podcasts, talking about Vooch not being a good defender, talking about how you finally got a guy who can guard point guards in Javon Carter. And it's like, the Bulls were top 5 defense last year. What are we talking about? Like, everybody executed their scheme perfectly.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot that goes on there, and I don't want to just keep rattling off stats, but it does make me question, like, how real this is. But like I said, if anybody can continue to pull something like this off, because you don't see it very often, it's the Bulls. You've just got so many guys that are so good at blowing up actions, getting over screens, cutting off, like, drives and just, like, dribble penetration before anything can really get going. And that has a cascade effect of, now the guy can't hit a kick-out pass to an open shooter. Now, he's not even able to get into the lane to where, the Bulls don't have a big shot blocking big. So, but if they can't get in there anyway, it doesn't matter, because they can't even get into a shot. So I really do think the Bulls have built something really unique, and it can be really special, as we saw last year. But I just don't know, given the fact that it was 23rd the year before, 5th last year, is it going to be one end or the other, or somewhere in the middle?
Well, for me, like, and you all have heard me say this a million times.
Sorry.
First of all, cascade effect is my shit. But you've all heard me say this a million times. I talked about the Bulls' defense is basically death by 1,000 cuts. And you just added more blades to that kind of defense right here, because that's their offense. Is that defense. It's not so much, holding you down for 24 seconds and then going and getting the rebound and doing it like that. No, it's either stealing it or blocking that shot or disrupting it and running. That's what the Bulls are trying to do, and that's why they have all these guards out there that can play this kind of defense. That steal happens, because you saw what Caruso was in steals. You saw what happened like that. Io is great in that. Io is awesome in transition. Javon Carter is your shooter who's going to be pulling up for that shot. Torrey Craig, do whatever you need on that. It's why Javonte Green worked so well with the Bulls that one year. I want to know what their defense was the year before when Lonzo was here, because
So that was the year Lonzo.
Oh, that was the Lonzo year.
23rd, yeah.
23rd.
They fell off a bit after
After he got hurt. Right, correct.
Right.
Obviously on that, because both him and Caruso were like defensive, all defensive candidates at that point in time when Lonzo was still going.
Right.
But I'm just saying, when you add that kind of stuff to a death by 1,000 cuts kind of defense that thrive, they're like piranhas, man. Like, they run like a school of piranhas. They come in and they getting it, and when they get it, they're gone. And they're out of there, and they're scoring. And then as soon as they score, here comes Io right in your face, guarding you all the way up the floor. And so it just makes me excited. Honestly, it excites me knowing that this defense is now going to be something that I can't wait to actually watch. And it's going to be more, Matt, with the second unit where I can't wait to watch it, where those other point guards come in who aren't as skilled as the starters, have to deal with that kind of elite defense.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
I mean, when you talk about the skill that they have, Will, fighting over screens, fighting through screens, that point of attack defense, the perimeter defense, and it's not just Caruso who is elite at that, but for all of the disappointments that Bulls fans may have felt about Ayo's kind of fallback sophomore season offensively, he is still an above-average defender on the perimeter when it comes to fighting through and over top of screens.
Yeah, very true.
Kobe White, who I saw our guy Colin in the comments mentioning, improved tremendously last season. Whether it was just his tenacity and a combination of added physical strength, Kobe used to duck under screens all the time or get just like pancaked by screens all the time.
True.
Kobe's screen navigation improved significantly last season. So now you're just adding through all of on top of these guys, on top of Alex Caruso, who have all of this capable perimeter defense and also quality wing defense, help defense, not just with Patrick Williams, who can guard multiple positions, but now adding a guy like Torrey Craig, who can do the same thing. If you get improvements again this year defensively from Kobe and Patrick, and maybe also Ayo, adding to the additions of Javon Carter and Torrey Craig, who are capable defenders. The funny thing is, Bulls fans love to talk about the fact that your big three are all one-way players and they can do what they do on offense, but Zach, DeMar, and Vooch are all net negative defensive players. In a lot of cut-and-dry ways that is true, and I wouldn't argue with that.
Sure.
But they just proved to us last year that they can be a top-5 defense with those guys playing heavy minutes. They played damn near every game all season long, and they all played heavy minutes. And they can all do some things defensively.
Yes.
Are they good? No. But they can do some things and enough. They can do just enough to let the defensive stars around them shine. And, you know, you mentioned the rebounding. Vooch is an elite defensive rebounder.
He is.
I can't remember if he finished first, but he was somewhere in the top 5 all season long in defensive rebounding percentage. So even if you want to criticize Vooch's drop defense or the fact that he's not some great rim protector, the Bulls have assembled this absolute wall of perimeter defense with all of these guards and wings. And guess what? Force some difficult shots, force late in the shot clock shots. Vooch is there to grab the rebound. It worked last season.
Very
so
well.
I think we dogged the continuity thing quite a bit on the show, and I think for good reason.
Don't say we.
But like, I dogged the continuity thing on this show, and I think for good reason. But the defensive end is where you can actually see the results of that.
Fact, yeah.
Because, like you said, I mean, it's very difficult to have a top 5 defense in this league. It's not something that you can do by accident. It's not like just getting super hot every night, shooting a bunch of threes and falling into a. I mean, to be top 5 in anything out of 30 teams is really, really difficult. And so I do think that they have learned how to play this scheme together and execute it at a high enough level. And you've got guys that are really good, you know, the cliche, being stars in their role at taking away certain things, at blowing up actions, like I said. But it's just like crazy to me looking at some of these numbers, and I know I said I wasn't going to do it, but here I go anyway.
Numbers.
Okay, so if you look at the percent of shots from like shot distribution across the court, right? So the percentage of shots allowed from the 3-point line, specifically from the corner or above the break, percentage of total opponent shots from the rim. Last year, they allowed the 20th most shots at the rim, the 28th most threes, 26th most corner threes. On those corner threes, opponents shot the worst in the entire league, worst percentage. So are they benefiting from some luck there? Maybe. We talked about this during the season too, but the Bulls, you know, I've asked Billy about this. I've asked like players about this. They all say like, yes, we give up threes, but we have a very high contest rate. And I don't really know exactly what that means. Like that's one of the things that I'm very curious to ask about like as soon as the season starts. But just like looking at some of these numbers, the year before they allowed the second fewest threes in the entire league. This past year, the 28th most. So it's like, how do you go from one complete end of the spectrum all the way to the other for the percentages to go from one end of the spectrum to the other and for you to now still somehow end up on the top 5, it's just kind of crazy to me. So I know they've brought in a lot of good guys. I know those guys can execute schemes well, and I know they have physical attributes that allow them to do so.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious to see, like, there's a world where they do get better because they added more talent. There's also a world where they get worse in spite of that because just some of that luck normalizes and opponents' threes start to go in.
That's true. That's a great point. I think when they talk about that contest rate, again, this is just me speculating, but just the percentage of shots that they get their hands up on, not caring about if the shot is going in or not, but just can they close out on that shooter or get to that shooter and get their hands up on that? Because even you saying that, like, my mind flashed back to many times when I would watch them run out and contest those shots, but those teams would still hit those shots.
Yep.
And all the time, there were several game winners like that where they were there, but the shots just went in. There's nothing you can really do about that. I don't know if it's a cool way to look at that, because it kind of matters if the shot goes in or not. But it does say it. I'm not saying it doesn't matter, because it does matter that you're there and you're not giving up wide open shots on a team like that. And also the builds of the guards that they have also come into play for me. Like Ayo's build, and his length also is a factor. Caruso and just how he is. Caruso, you could tell me Caruso is 6'6", or you could tell me he's 6'2", and I would believe you. You know what I mean? Either way it goes. That's how they are. Kobe White, another one. You know what I mean? Another big guard who might not seem like a big guard to you, but is a big guard, and get out there and defend on those guys, man. So it's just the options that I'm excited for Billy to have, in this, and Mo Cheeks as well. Yeah. But I'm just excited for them to get out there and put this together, and let's see. And
I think that's exactly what we're talking about here with the continuity piece, which is that, like, these guys understand where they need to be at all times. If you, like I said, I don't know what numbers they're tracking or how they're doing it or how those numbers relate to other teams in the league, but if you're confident in saying that you're one of the best teams in the league at closing out on shooters, what does that mean? That means you're really good at getting out to shooters, which means everybody else behind you has to be helping, which means if the ball does get swung, now everybody's scrambling, everybody's in rotation. And to be able to play out of that and execute and continue to close out, you have to be, your awareness and understanding and trust in your teammates to be where they need to be so that you can aggressively close out needs to be really high. But just again, like last year, so this past season, opponents shot 35% from the corners, from corner threes, okay? The worst percentage in the league.
Okay.
The year before that, they shot 43% from the corners, the best percentage in the league. So it's just like, yes, all of this stuff, like, you could be better. You could learn how to play together more. You can trust each other more. You can execute these things better. But at a certain point, it's a make or miss league, and the ball's either going to go in or it's not. Right. And I would be hard pressed to believe that it went from worst to first to worst again. Like, it's going to be somewhere in the middle. I just feel like they're in like this weird roller coaster that's just kind of like, it's hard to know what to make of it.
Take the ride.
Willie, when you talk about just how hard it is to be top 5 in the NBA in anything, and when we're talking about can the Bulls be a top 5 defense again next season, I wanted to also touch on the other teams that finished top 5 in the NBA last season and think, can they do it again? Could the Bulls possibly leapfrog any of those teams as far as defensively being elite? So we will continue that part of the conversation on the other side of this break. While we share these words from our friends and sponsors, if you're hanging out with us on YouTube, do us a quick, simple favor. Hit that thumbs up button, just like Lawrence asked you to in the comments on this beautiful Tuesday. And if you aren't already, go ahead and subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Today's show is brought to you in part by our friends at Hooters. Hooters is your spot to catch all of the games this season. Is there anything better than eating wings and watching football?
Not many.
And drinking beers?
Not many.
I don't think there is. Step up to the Hooters plate for world-famous wings, delicious seafood, stacked sandwiches, salads, if that's your thing, and more. Tons of great beer specials and $6 drinks all day, every day. $6 drinks. That's rare these days.
It is.
Check out their seafood specials, including $19.83 for a pound of crab legs.
Ooh.
Under $20 for a pound of crab legs.
Pretty good.
Plus great prices on buffalo shrimp and steamed shrimp. You like buffalo shrimp?
I do. It was
Buffalo
my favorite thing to
is
get.
bomb.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing to get.
It's one of my few exceptions that I make for seafood.
Ooh. It's good to know.
Plus, Hooters is celebrating their 40 years in business all year long. In honor of that anniversary, on the 4th of every month, Hooters is hosting throwback events, bringing the 80s back with 83-cent wings, plus other great specials. So the 4th of every month, that means the next one coming up, we just had August 4th. The next one, September 4th, is Labor Day.
Yes.
Ooh. Everybody's off on Labor Day. If you're off, go to Hooters and get yourself some 83-cent wings. Hello.
Oh, my God.
Check out Hooters. Celebrate their 40 years of business with all of their great deals. Get them crab legs.
Get them. L-Dog, what time is it?
Game time. That's how it's done.
There, that is.
That is how
really
it's
good.
done.
It was good. It's good.
Just had a bunch of rooks around recently when we've had ad reads for game time.
So we're not ready. They weren't ready, but they better get ready because it ain't going to stop, baby. Because it's game time, ladies and gents. Buying tickets to your favorite event should not be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all your sports, music, comedy, and theater near you with killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing and tripping and start getting hyped up and happy for all the fun that your wonderful self is about to have. I just bought my sister some tickets off of Game Time. Bought her some tickets. She loves Lionel Richie. It's her favorite artist.
Oh, hell yeah.
Bought her some tickets to see Lionel Richie and Earth, Wind, and Fire way down there in Matt's favorite place in Florida. So I bought some tickets there. She's going to have a great time. Game Time hooked it all up.
Is he performing with his identical twin, Otto Porter Jr.?
I think it might be Otto Porter Jr. on certain songs. When the All Night Long or Dancing on the Ceiling comes on. Oh, the knees, baby. The knees. Might need Otto Porter out there to do some things. But it's going to be a good show. I know that. And Game Time hooked it up with the deal. They got deals for you too, y'all. Flash deals and last-minute tickets. Easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. Image of the seating views, which I definitely used in buying those tickets, and the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, even job loss protection. They have got your back. So snag tickets without stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHGO, get yourself $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem that code, CHGO, $20 off. That's what you're going to get. Download Game Time today. Last minute ticket, lowest price guaranteed. Because we're going to go, Golly, what time is it?
Game time.
Who?
Surprised you didn't ask Sarah. She just walked in.
No, she ain't ready.
No way she's going to be ready for that.
She ain't ready.
Not in the producer chair.
Herself.
She does need to redeem herself. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Who? Huh?
Yeah, right. No, we got to figure out it's not hoops. We still working on that.
Hoots.
It's not hoots
Hooty,
or
hooty,
hoops.
hoots.
We're working on that part, but she gonna get it together.
I have faith.
All of it.
She'll get there.
All of it.
All right, guys. So other teams that finished top 5 in the NBA in defensive rating last season. You got Cleveland, Boston, Memphis, Milwaukee. Very good defensive teams.
Yes.
I could make an argument, at least, that Cleveland and Boston might fall off a bit defensively. I'm curious if you guys agree or disagree. Cleveland had a solid offseason as far as changes to their roster, supplements to their roster, but I feel like it was more focused on helping balance out their offense because they had a lot of guards and a lot of bigs and very few wings. So they added some wings. They added some shooting that they desperately needed. But I feel like they didn't necessarily get any better defensively. Boston, you take away Marcus Smart, you bring in Kristaps. To me, that's a step down defensively. What do you guys think? I mean, do you see the Bulls maybe Memphis added Marcus Smart?
They did. It's better.
Steven Adams' health obviously is a big question mark there for them as far as them being elite defensively. Loss of Dylan Brooks.
Elite defensive player.
Was the only person even higher and in the far corner more than Caruso on that ball screen navigation chart. How dare he? And the Bucks are the Bucks. They're pretty much returning. They're running it back.
Yeah.
So how do you see those other 4 teams who finished above the Bulls performing as defensive units this season?
I think you're pretty dead on as far as Cleveland is concerned. Because hearing them being in that top 5 was shocking. You know, because you don't.
Well, they
just
got all those rim protectors.
Yeah.
You know,
you got, of course, you got Allen. You know what I'm saying? You got Mobley. You got that, but I don't think defense when I think of them. It's not the first thing that comes to my mind at all. And I don't know if they can continue that, hanging their hat on that coming into this season with teams kind of prepared for them, you know what I'm saying, a little ready for what they're going to do. Like, the difference between the Bulls defense and that is, like I said, if it's death by 1,000 cuts, you don't know where the blade coming from. This one, you know what I mean? Oh, I get Jared Allen in foul trouble. All right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we're done. Get out of here. You know, Mobley, you know what I'm saying? Okay, he's a rim protector, but they need his scoring also.
Right.
So he can't always be your rim protector. You know what I mean? It's different in Memphis with I got Triple J because, like you said, they had Steven Adams there. So he can probably cheat a little bit off of that and get those blocks. Congratulations to him winning that award. But, yeah, I think Cleveland would be the one. Boston, honestly, I think it would be a fall off. I don't think it would be a steep one, though.
No.
I mean, you still got Time Lord out there, man.
He missed a lot of time last year.
I missed a lot of time for the Time Lord. You know what I mean? But he's still out there. As a unit, they're still really good defensively, man. Like, Tatum is still really good defensive. He's a good defensive player. They've got a team that can do – Porzingis definitely is not who I think of when I'm thinking of defensive stoppers.
No.
But he does play like he's 7 feet tall. And that's all I can really ask for somebody like that. He blocks – exactly. That's what I mean by that. Exactly right. So that won't hurt the team. It will hurt them scheme-wise because Marcus Smart is just really excellent and brilliant in knowing where to be on that. But as far as teams trying to get to the rim and score on them, Porzingis can guard, a couple of threes out there on the perimeter, you know what I'm saying, get in their face, use his length to do those things. He can do that stuff. And like I said, Tatum can definitely guard, and Brown also, too, can play a solid defender. So I don't think a steep fall for them, but it won't be the same, definitely. But Memphis, yes. And the Bulls, I think, will be better.
I think so much of this just depends on health, as we talk about with almost any of this stuff.
Sure.
The Celtics, like we said, Robert Williams missed a ton of time. Jaren Jackson was out for the first 20-some-odd games of last year. He comes back and wins Defensive Player of the Year. If he doesn't play, that obviously they will collapse. I think the Bucks actually are going to be a lot better defensively. Giannis, I think, played hurt a lot of last year.
Yeah.
Chris Middleton missed, I think he only played 33 games.
Yeah.
And I think as a result of that, Giannis had a much higher offensive burden that prevented him from really being able to defend at the level that he would have wanted. At the same time, I think Brook Lopez played 79 or 80 games. So
it's true. He did.
He's 35. But I think if you're going to look at the teams in front, you also have to look at the teams in back.
Who might make a leap.
Teach him, go. Teach.
The Suns just hired Frank Vogel. He's obviously a defensive-minded coach, and they have a bunch of really smart players that I thought they had a great free agency period after the Bradley Beal trade. Miami is not going anywhere. I'm super high on the Timberwolves. Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, have Rudy Gobert back there and kind of a year to try to figure that out with Cat back in the lineup.
Yeah.
Raptors aren't going anywhere.
Right.
Lakers have always been a really good defensive team, especially in the second half of the year when they kind of are who they became.
And now added Hayes to that team as well.
Exactly. So you have a lot of teams that I think are really competitive. At the same time, the Bulls were pretty firmly in that top 5. There was 0.5 points per 100 possessions between them and the 6th seed. Which is significant. For context, there was only 0.3 points per possession between Boston, Memphis, and Milwaukee for the 2 through 4. So the Bulls were there, and if Caruso's healthy, if Javon Carter can be sort of a replication of what Patrick Beverley was. We talked about it. The Bulls were first in defense after the All-Star break last year. And so obviously I think there's room for improvement, but as we talked about, there's also maybe some room for them to fall back a bit.
Yeah.
You mentioned Toronto as one of those other solid defensive teams. Maybe what constitutes actual NBA news for August. Shams dropped a column this morning on The Athletic giving his updates on the latest as far as a few potential stars still to be dealt before this upcoming season begins. Obviously, Harden and Dame, no real big updates for either of them. But there was something interesting about Pascal Siakam, speaking of that Raptors defense, saying that they're having a dalliance with Atlanta. DeAndre Hunter and A.J. Griffin plus some picks is the latest offer that was floated. Toronto turned that down. If they do essentially move on from Siakam and kind of start a rebuild now that Van Vliet has left to Houston, then you're not so worried about that Raptors team being like defensively elite. Yes, they still have some other solid wings, that lengthy Raptors team. But obviously Siakam is a big part of what they do there. Also, as far as what the Bucks do defensively this year, Colin did correctly point out in the comments that we stole Javon Carter from them, and he is he plays defense for us now.
That's a very good point.
So that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
All right, let's take our second break real quick, and then we'll come back and talk about just how impressive Vucevic's three-point shot creation has been coming into the NBA as someone who didn't shoot threes as a center. An awesome breakdown from our guy Eli Schuster over at Bleacher Nation Bulls. We'll talk about that next. Coming up after the break, which is when you should hit that thumbs up button if you haven't done so yet. Big Dave, who's next?
First of all, I like how Anthony is saying, how's the golf game, Will? He's asking.
Not great.
Everybody wants to know, Will.
Everybody wants to know. We're putting it out there.
Can't be worse than Bragg's.
It can't.
You never know.
We do know.
I'm pretty sure we know.
Yeah, we're pretty sure we know that one. Beer! That's what we're talking about, though. Woo. Lawrence, could you hit me one time, please, sir, with the honks? When you get your thing, give me one more time for making the people wait. Love it when you do it because it's the Goose Island Beer Company. Awesome beer, awesome company, CHGO, Goose Island. Two things together, y'all. They go together like awesomeness. And
Like
you should get you one. You heard them.
Chang, chang, chang.
That's right.
chang,
Don't you be
Damn.
surprised. Don't
Okay.
you be surprised, sir. That's Matthew Peck.
Yeah, it sure is.
Shout out Travolta.
Theater guy. You better know it. It's how he rolls, sir. Goose Island. Goose IPA. Oh, we love it. Why? Because 6-time medal winner. Great American Beer Fest. 6 of them things. Can you imagine them other beer companies when they saw them walking in? If especially after the fourth one, they was like, oh, God, here they come again. You're damn right. More wins, more medals. That's how they roll, man. The Tropical Beer Hub, or AKA the Herb Lawrence. 9.9% alcohol. Dangerously easy to drink because Herb showed you that you can do that and still be all right. I am just in awe when I sit there and think about that, Lawrence. It was an amazing video for me.
It's one of the best.
One of the best.
I mean, it's almost as good as seeing Will without a shirt on in Target.
He did it twice. Look at him. He has no chill. He hulked him. No chill for this young man. The 312 Wheat Ale. That is the classic. Everybody enjoys the 312 Wheat Ale. And, of course, the Matt and Dave favorite, the Full Pocket Pilsner, the everyday beer of what the brewers are drinking and what the people who drink what the brewers are drinking are also drinking. Figure it out. So, brewery exclusive beers is what you get at the Goose Island Original Brew House. Where's that at, Dave? Let me tell you. It's on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park. Oh, man, it's too far from where I'm at. Well, guess what? They got a tap room on Fulton Street in West Town.
Right over there.
Oh, get you some, y'all. The Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer, the true taste of Chicago. Hit me one more time, Lawrence. Come on with you.
Today's show also brought to you by our friends at FOCO. Get fitted out in the best sports gear around. Hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, everything in betwixt. It's baseball season. Football season is around the corner. Basketball season and hockey season are just around that corner.
Right there.
So get yourself some Aloha shirts, some straw hats, some polos, some bags, everything you need for game day. Whether game day is at the ballpark, at the football field, or at the Madhouse. Also, shout out to FOCO for donating some of our dope set decorations here in Studio A, and then also some over there in Studio B at our headquarters here, CHGO, downtown Chicago. Check out FOCO.com or click the link in the description below if you're watching along on YouTube. For all non-presale items, use the promo code, you know it, CHGO at checkout, and you will get 10% off your order. Again, that's FOCO, FOCO.com, promo code CHGO for 10% off at checkout. Check it out.
Check it out.
You know what else we should check out?
What's that, Matthew Peck?
Vucevic's brilliant construction of a three-point shot when he didn't have one before.
I heard he couldn't do that.
Bulls, get ready, Vuce haters. We're about to spread some love all over Vuce's greatness. So, in case you missed this, Bleacher Nation Bulls, Eli Schuster had this great breakdown of centers in the NBA who came into the league with no three-point shot to speak of, and then built one for themselves and did so successfully. Go read the whole thing if you haven't done so yet. You can find it on Bleacher Nation Bulls website. But I wanted to talk about it a little bit here because as we talk about whether or not the Bulls could be an elite defensive team again next season, what could move the needle is if they keep that defense intact, not being the lowest three-point shooting volume team in the NBA, and then maybe instead of being the 24th ranked overall offense, if you get to somewhere closer to the middle of the pack offensively just by shooting and making more threes, bingo, bango, you're back in the hunt. So, as much as we talk about what Vooch can do as a facilitator, an underappreciated passer out of that low post or high post, a fulcrum from the strong side to the weak side of the floor offensively, I know some of our old school NBA friends don't like Vooch jacking threes.
Get in the paint!
But he needs to jack threes. It's one of the reasons they went and got him. So, all right, here's the basic criteria that I'll run down for you as far as how Schuster broke this down. So, to be eligible for this pool of centers who built a three-point shot, they must be considered a center in the NBA stat database.
Gotcha.
They must have appeared in at least 25 games in a season where they shot 35% or better from three on at least 2 3-point attempts per game.
Got you.
For those criteria, in the history of the NBA, you get 39 guys. That's it. Then he further cut that down by eliminating those who only met the criteria in one season and not multiple seasons.
Okay.
When you do that, the pool of players shrinks from 39 to 21. Obviously, when you add on to that the fact that where are we here? Okay, so starting as a center who didn't shoot, as Vooch was, Vooch failed to reach even 10 3-point attempts in an entire season in each of his first 5 seasons in the NBA.
Okay.
Not 10 attempted threes in an entire season for 5 straight years. Then, to make the next round of this category, you had to have shot fewer than 10 3-pointers in multiple seasons when you played at least 50 games. And, of course, prior to the season when they started meeting the criteria of 35%, 2 attempts, at least 25 games from the center position. When you narrow it down that way, you get 9. Just 9 players. Nikola Vucevic, Mo Spates, Jack Sikma, Brooke Lopez, Al Horford, Marc Gasol, Dwayne Dedmon, DeMarcus Cousins, and LaMarcus Aldridge. Of those 9, Eli cut it a bit further by cutting those who hadn't shot at least 200 3-point attempts in a season. So may have averaged 2 attempts per game, but not a total of 200 attempts in a season. Because Vooch, once he did that for the first time in 2017-2018 season, has done it every season since.
Wow.
At least 200 3-point attempts.
Wow.
That cut out Dwayne Dedmon and LaMarcus Aldridge, leaving just these 7 players.
Wow.
Thank you, Lawrence. Al Horford, Mo Spates, Marc Gasol, Jack Sikma, Vooch, Brooke Lopez, Boogie Cousins.
Wow.
7 guys who went from shooting no threes as big men for their respective NBA teams to starting to shoot at least 200 a game and making them at a 35% clip or better.
That's interesting, man.
That is a short list of players who just built themselves a 3-point shot from the center position.
Yeah.
So as much as Bulls fans were ragging on Vooch in his first full season last year, when that 3-point percentage dipped down from when he was shooting near 40, around 40, when we acquired him in that trade with Orlando, he brought it back up to 35% last season, which is what I asked of him when we all set goals for specific players in our Prove It segments leading up to and during training camp. I said, Vooch, get me 35% back from behind the arc. He did that. And he's one of 7 NBA players in history to build himself a 3-point shot like this.
I'm sorry. I'm over here just looking at the different stats for these centers because this is really fascinating to me. Shout out to Vooch, first of all, for doing that. We keep telling y'all how good this man is and how necessary it is for him to take these 3-point shots because at that point in time, nobody else was available to take those 3-point shots. And then how many times, Matt, did we sit here and watch Vooch hit key 3-pointers in that fourth quarter from that top of the key? And he throws up the 3 like this for y'all because he did it in the fourth all the time. All the time. He did that. That's what he does, man. Vooch is very clutch. That's not talked about enough for me. It's how clutch he is when he gets that lead back to 1 or he gives the Bulls that 2-point lead in that fourth quarter with a few minutes to go. He did that so many times. The Detroit game, first game of the season, pops in my head immediately. So, yeah, shout out to Vooch for that. He's really good and necessary. Of course, you don't want him taking 10 a game. That means that there's a roster construction issue if that's the case with that.
Sure.
So, but you want him to take these threes because he built himself to that, and now he's skilled at that. So, yes, continue doing that. I think that's awesome. These other players really fascinated me. Spates definitely fascinated me.
I was not expecting Spates on that list.
I looked at it twice like, wait, is that Maurice Spates? Really?
A smaller sample size for him, as you see there. He only played 134 games,
correct,
qualifying for the 200 or more 3-point attempts in a season.
But then even looking up his attempts, his first 6 seasons, all of them were 0.1.
Yeah.
Like all of them. And his last season, it was 4.5 attempts a game.
Right.
When he retired in 2017-18.
Yeah.
Taking 4 attempts a game.
These are all guys who used to shoot fewer than 10 threes in an entire season.
Like, and the one that really stands out is Jack Sikma. Shout out Jack Sikma. I'm sure, Lawrence, you remember with me, man.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out Jack Sikma on the Bucks, who was a monster. All right, Jack Sikma was
menace.
Menace, dog. Looked like Drago. Like for real. Jack Sikma was that dude, bro, on the Bucks. He was a force, all right? Not only very, very strong, but just skilled at the same time. He was kind of like Rick Smits, but a little more physical. You know what I mean? I liked him a lot. I liked Jack Sikma a lot. So to see his name on there was shocking as well because, again, this was during a time where it was super frowned upon for centers to be taking 3-point shots. So he had games, of course, where he wasn't doing any of that. You know, like, dude, he wasn't even having it as a stat when he was doing it.
Right.
Like, it's amazing. Like, so to see him end up on this list, and I mean, the most he ever took in his career was 2.8, and that was his next to last season in the league. And that was like 89, 90 when he was doing that. So that's even more impressive because there was a bunch of zeros and 0.1s. Right. You know what I'm saying? Just like binary codes, you know what I'm saying, on his thing. So, and DeMarcus Cousins, looked at his. It's the same kind of way, even though his wasn't as shocking because he would do that at Kentucky too. You knew he could do it. Right. He just went. But those two guys, like, I'm just like, no, them dudes don't shoot no threes. And you're like, oh, shit, yes, they do. That's really good. But Vooch, man, like, for me, that just says a lot more about him and the kind of player that he is because him building that got him more money, and he understood that. Like, he was always very physical. You know, he's always that guy that physical, gets you in the post, dominates you right there. Him giving himself that is what got him into the All-Star game. It's what got him all those checks that he has right now. It's why the Bulls pay him to come stay again. It's because of the multifaceted tool game that he has. Like, it's impressive. Like, sitting there, I'm super impressed by this. I am.
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime, like, that's the old adage, right? That great players are always adding something to their game every year.
Yes.
I think Vooch did that. I don't think it's like that big of a deal though, just because one, he's always been a very good shooter from deep mid-range. And I think as the league sort of evolved and progressed, you hit 2015-16, and all of a sudden Steph was taking 12 pull-up threes a game, and they were playing small, and you kind of had to adapt.
Change the whole game.
So if you just kind of look at the percentage of shots that Vooch took from various places on the court, he was always like, his first couple of years, 23% of his shots came between 16 feet and the three-point line. Next year, 22. Next year, 26, 26, 30, 26. And then it's 2017-18, and it goes down to 17%. And then 12%.
Because more of those became threes.
Exactly. You go from 0.7% of your shots from three to 25%, and then to 28%. So I do think part of it is just a shift in, like, no longer are guys spacing the floor from 16, 18 feet anymore. They're stretching it all the way out. But in order to be able to do that, you have to be able to do that.
Right.
And I think that's where you give credit. But you look at Maurice Spates, too. He was taking 0.4 threes per game in 2013-14, 0.2 in 14-15, 0.9 in 15-16, 3.4 in 16-17, the year the Warriors won. Al Horford, 0.4, 0.5, and then in 15-16, 3.1, then 3.6, 3.1. Brooke Lopez, too, 0.1, 0.1, 0.2. 2016-17, 5.2. So these guys just, I think part of it is just the way that the league evolved. But as I said, you need to have that touch from the deep mid range in order to be able to get there to begin with. So obviously you credit Vooch for stretching out his game.
Right.
I still think Vooch leaves a lot of threes on the table, and I agree with you that you don't want him to just be a spot up shooter because he's so skilled in other ways. But all that to say, I just think a lot of it is kind of the way that the game has evolved, and crediting these guys in particular for being able to lengthen their careers by adding those elements to their game.
Right. And I think that that's why, even though you're right to say the guys who have made this addition to their game were guys who could at least knock down mid-range to deep mid-range shots and then expanded that range from there. The fact that this list is so short of this criteria that Eli at Bleacher Nation Bulls came up with, 35% or better, 200 attempts a game, playing 50 games a season, after having previously never done anything close to that, 10 or fewer attempts per season. It shows you that even that is itself a challenge for guys who were big men who could knock down mid-range, because there are 7. There are 7 who did it this successfully.
Look at them.
You mentioned the look at freaking segment right there.
Look at them, baby.
Will, you
Shout out Rick
mentioned
Mahorn.
Horford and Brook Lopez being those type of guys. Like, yeah, okay, you've always had some touch from those mid-range spots. And then those two are the ones who always get recognized for this most consistently, I feel, because Horford shoots a bunch of threes for the Celtics, and sometimes when he's hot, he's a big reason why the Celtics go on crazy spurts and win their games. But look, once Horford built himself a three-point shot, he's at 3.8 attempts per game, and he's shooting the best of this group of 7 players in that span at 37.5%, which is great. But Vooch has taken half a three more per game than Horford since they each respectively built the three-point shots into their games, and Vooch is only a couple of points behind percentage-wise. And 4.3 three-point attempts per game for Vooch since he built himself this three-point shot in the 16-17 season. If any Bulls fan has an issue with Vooch taking 4.5 threes a game,
Bugging.
you aren't watching 2023 NBA basketball.
Yeah, my issue is that he's taking only 4.5 or whatever. He should be taking more. And I do totally agree. I think the criticism about Vooch has almost nothing to do with Vooch, and it's more what the price to get him was, in the fact that they bought at the peak of the market value, and that he kind of came back down to his normal value, which is like a really good all-around player who also has a reliable three-point shot. The year that they traded for him in Orlando, he was taking 6.5 threes per game. Now he's taking 4.5.
Yeah.
So
he
I do
was
think there's
6.5 and it hitting 40%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, you're buying at the all-time market high, right? He's probably going to have to continue to get better at that if he wants to lengthen his career the way that I know he wants to.
Yeah.
And I also think it's fair to criticize, the buying price more than the player, right?
Yeah.
I think if the Bulls had traded Wendell in 1 pick, it would not be considered a bad trade. It's the 2 picks, locking up your picks for 4 years, basically, that I think makes it a tough pill to swallow. But, yeah, I mean, and also, Vooch did struggle to acclimate. He said so, and I think it was obvious watching. If he had shot, 35% on 5.5 threes per game last year instead of 33% on 4.5, there might be a different. So it was a drop off. They did overpay to get him, but that doesn't mean he's a bad player or that he can't shoot. It's just both of those things are true at the same time.
Yeah. Can I go back to Jack Sikma? Because I'm
Please.
super
We got
fascinated
a couple
by
minutes
this.
left. Go for it.
So what extra fascinates me is Will, like he was pointing out about all those centers and just basically the shift in the league when Steph Curry came. Steph Curry wasn't even alive. You know what I'm saying? When Jack Sikma was doing, 3-pointers weren't even a thing in the NBA when he came in. His first 2 seasons, there was no 3-point line.
Yeah.
It didn't exist. And then the next season, he just didn't take them because it was brand new. What are you doing out there? Get your big ass down in the lane. So that's what makes it even more fascinating to me. And he went out in 1990. You know what I'm saying? That's when he went out. So just seeing him do that stuff and saying, no, I'm basically be ahead of the curve and ahead of the game. at that point, and adding it that late in his career, because that extends your career a little bit. You look weird because obviously you're the first person doing something. Anytime you're the first person doing something, you look crazy. Like, that's just what it is. So I'm sure you look crazy to a lot of people. It extended his career, allowing him to stay.
The form is out of control. Larry Bird form.
And
he's got the Larry Bird behind the head form.
And let's not talk about the
kid
fro.
That's trying to like make it all the way to the basket.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, man.
This guy's 7 feet tall.
Look like I got. What's my intern name? Is that Scott?
Yeah.
Look like my man Scott's fro right there, bro. Beautiful, clean, baby.
Just
man, I miss those Sonics jerseys, man.
I was just gonna say.
Shout out
those
Jack
jerseys.
Sigma. I miss the Bucks
sick.
jerseys that were like that too. Back in the 80s, I miss those. Those were awesome as well. But that's what I remember. I remember more from the Bucks than I do the Sonics. Even though he won a championship with that Sonics team. Shout out Lenny Wilkins as
Who
well.
was the other dude on the Bucks? The other white big man, Frank something.
Oh, Frank Bukowski.
Frank Bukowski?
Yeah.
He was on the team when it was Bulls Sonics Finals 96.
Sure was.
He's the guy who just tried
He
to
also
get
had
into
that.
Rodman's head
Yep.
and lost every mental battle with Rodman in that
Yep.
series.
He
It was
did.
fantastic.
He
Did he
did.
go headband
His
too?
name
No,
is
no headband. No.
Brickowski, and he's a basketball player.
Yes.
God, that made me laugh as a child.
The wristbands on Sigma, yes. The wristbands. He had the wristbands.
Colin in the comments saying, this segment gives me hope that I will eventually learn how to dunk at age 38. Let me tell you, Colin, I am 36, and I'm getting farther away from learning how to dunk.
Don't give up on your dreams.
Throwing a hat said, when we get those LED floors, look out. 4-point shot spots incoming.
Oh, it's coming.
Work on your random fours, kids.
That's real. That 4-point shot is coming,
It's
bro.
already been integrated into the 3-point contest.
Yes, it's on the way.
The Mountain Dew money ball.
Come on, baby.
My hoop idea is 3 points for a dunk. Make dunks cool again.
3 points? Nah.
Yeah.
I ain't
If
giving
they're
you
going to
3
add a
points for
4-point shot, they need to incentivize dunking. I don't want people
I
just
agree.
jacking up a bunch of threes.
I actually agree.
Well,
It's a
based on
cup.
based on the Bulls'
Dunks are
current
cool.
situation, how about 3 points for deep mid-range twos?
I would take that too.
How about
Do we do that?
5 points if your
we
foot's
do
on the
that?
3
3-point
points for
line?
all the shots that the Bulls take, and 2 points for all the shots that anybody else takes.
Wow, that is very logical. I am with that. That's,
dig it.
It's no bias at all. I'm with
There's
this. That's
no
all
way
damn
that
right.
can backfire on us. All right, we are out of time for today. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't done so yet. Make sure you're subscribed to CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We got more baseball action coming up for y'all later tonight. Cubs and Sox. One team. Yay! One team. Ugh. Sorry, Dave.
Wait,
be all right,
wait,
baby.
hold on. Before we leave, there was a comment about that actually. I'd like to throw up there. This was from.
There's a comment
I think it was
that you
Anthony.
wrote
Yeah.
Curious to know if you guys have tried to help the CHGO Sox guys with all this drama and the other Jerry own team. Hell no. I feel
we
for
just
you,
have laughed.
but help? Man, I'm dealing with
He's
my own
not the
shit
one for
with
that.
Jerry.
He's not the one for that. All right, he's not there. We talk, we hug and we laugh. It's the best way I can say it. It's the only thing I can do, man. It's the only thing I can offer right now. Because what got just sadness, just upset, just trash. It's trash right now. All right, it's pure trash
Clown
going
show.
on for my team, man, and it sucks.
You guys see that?
But we'll go through it and we'll get
Jerry,
better.
Jerry ran away from some media.
He
at the
did.
Sox park.
Yeah.
Jerry, can we ask you a question? No, it was out of there with a cigar and
Shocker.
everything.
Shocker.
Yeah,
Clown show.
look at
No
him.
comments.
Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
Talking baseball.
We are back tomorrow. Same time, same place. In studio, 4 p.m. Central Time with another fresh show for y'all. Until then, Will is on Twitter at Will_Gottlieb. Big Dave Bow, BAWL Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls. Shout out and appreciation to our pal and producer, Lawrence, on the controls
You're
today.
welcome.
Loud out.
We'll talk to you tomorrow, Bulls Nation. See Red be good.